Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you my top 20 designer fragrances that are on my radar / wish list. A lot of these I've tried, I love, I want to buy them. It's just a matter of time before they're added to my collection. There's a few that I haven't smelled, like maybe 2 or 3, that I just want because people have raved about them and the notes look good to me. I'm intrigued. So there's a few like that, but the majority of these are ones that I've tried on skin and I absolutely love. A lot of them I don't hear talked about very often, so I thought it would be great to bring you a list. I did a video similar to this a few months ago in the niche realm of ones that are on my radar that I really want to get. Someone had asked if I would do a designer version. So this is 20 designer fragrances that are just absolutely great, except for a few that I haven't tried, but most of them I highly recommend. So before I get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and do that. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community. And without further ado, let's get into this. So the first fragrance, I would say it's top of the list, is Chanel Chanceau Fresh. Now I have smelt that one, I have worn it, and it's definitely one I want to add to my collection. I think it's a great spring summer fragrance, especially if you're wanting something that smells a bit green. To me, Chanel Chanceau Fresh smells quite limey, but then there's a beautiful kind of vanilla woodiness that comes through as it dries down on the skin. I also find that for a green fragrance, this one has excellent longevity. It's definitely my favorite out of the Chanel Chance line. And I just think it's a beautiful kind of green, bright, fresh fragrance without smelling like I'm not a fan of clean smelling, like out of the shower, clean shampoo-y vibes. So this is more, it's just more green, limey smelling to me. I find it very fresh and invigorating and perfect for those uber hot days. Love it. Next fragrance that I absolutely love is Because It's You by Giorgio Armani. Now this is kind of a raspberry liqueur fragrance. Longevity is pretty decent. It smells thick, it smells syrupy. Julie from Quebec, she's the one that gave me the sample of that one. Thank you, Julie. But she says it's her winter raspberry fragrance, and I agree wholeheartedly. It is a perfect winter raspberry. So if you want that delicious raspberry fruit with a little bit of a kind of liqueur feel in there, that it's just beautiful. And I never hear it talked about. I believe it's discontinued. You can get it at the gray market sites and everything will be linked down below as usual. Next fragrance that is definitely on my wish list is Libre Intense by YSL. Wasn't a real fan of the original, but Libre Intense is just a beautiful kind of slightly lavender, I think there's orange blossom vanilla fragrance. It's very sophisticated kind of grown woman boss lady fragrance. But the lavender is a little bit more pared down and I just prefer it. But it's definitely, I like the bottle. The bottle alone is gorgeous. So kind of want to have one at least in my collection. And I prefer the Intense over the Le Parfum because the Le Parfum has even less lavender and I kind of like that little lavender kick. Now, the next fragrance I have wanted in my collection for so long. It's called Eau de Rhubarbe Écarlate, I think. Anyway, basically, it's just a really delicious kind of mouth-watering, fresh, slightly sweet, musky rhubarb. It has rhubarb, red berries, and white musk in it. Very simple composition. I basically get just a really sweet rhubarb. So when I was a kid, we would take rhubarb stalks and we would dip them in sugar, like we'd get a little bowl of sugar and we'd dip the rhubarb in there and suck it. That's it. It kind of reminds me of that. So fresh yet sweet. It's absolutely beautiful. Now the thing about this that has stopped me is that the longevity is really poor on it. It's like the Guerlain Aqua Allegoria line. So fresh, uplifting, invigorating, but doesn't last very long. That's kind of like this one. That said, it's such a gorgeous fragrance that I think I have to get it. It's very similar to Rhubarb by Joe Loves from Zara, but I like the Écarlate version better than the rhubarb version. It's just a little sweeter somehow. It almost feels like a sweet rhubarb tea somehow. But anyway, I just absolutely love it. I love the bottle. I love everything about it. So at some point it's going to be in my collection for sure. While we're on Hermes, I have to talk about Twilly Ginger, like the ginger one. I'm going to have to get it too. Like, I am so mesmerized by the opening of that ginger. It's so delicious. It's a zingy, it's bright, it's invigorating, and I crave it. Like, I can't stop thinking about it. So it's definitely one that I want to get. That said, the dry down goes a little weird, but I don't think I care because I love the opening so much. I'm decluttering the original Twilly d'Hermes. So that's going to one of my friends that really loves it. But that ginger one, like, I literally can't stop thinking about it. So I think it's going to have to be mine. Plus, I don't know what it is about the yellow color of the juice on that one, but I love everything about it. I love everything about it. Next fragrance that is on my radar is Sea Intense, the new one that came out in 2021. So that has, I think it's a black currant syrup. There's just a delicious, luscious sweetness to it. Still has the sea DNA, but somehow it's got just a little extra jammy juiciness in it that makes it perfect for me. So I was on the fence, but lately, like, it's one that's always in the back of my head. So it's definitely one that I think I'm going to add to my collection at some point. Next one is, I've mentioned it recently. I'm absolutely buying this one. Like, this is the first one I'm going to be purchasing out of all of these. And it is Narciso Rodriguez's Musk Noir Rose. I am in love with that fragrance. So the star is the plum. There is a muskiness, there's rose. It smells somehow luxe, but sensual. The plum is just absolutely delicious. I'm in love with that fragrance. Like, I can't stop. Since I wore it, it's all I really want to wear. I think it's so gorgeous. So that is definitely one. Well, it's the first one I'm buying out of this whole list. Definitely getting that one as soon as possible because it's so stunning. I think it's relatively new as well. So if you haven't smelt that one or the new Sea Intense, definitely go check them out because they are the new and noteworthy ones. Out of all the fragrances that I have tried that are new, those are two fantastic ones. So definitely check them out. Next one is one that I want to get. I can't smell it anywhere. Like, you can't smell it in store anywhere, but it is LIBRE Le Parfum by Jean Paul Gaultier. So that has the tonka in it as opposed to being more vanilla centric, but it still has pear from what I understand. People really seem to notice a difference between the two, and I'm just really curious. So that's definitely one that's on my wish list. It's also supposed to be kind of like the deeper, darker sister of LIBRE. I love LIBRE, so I'm not sure it could beat it, but the Le Parfum is supposed to be like a little bit more sensual, sexy. So I have to try it. Another one that I haven't smelt, but I've liked two of them, and so I'm pretty sure I would like it as well. Is La Nuit Trésor à la Folie. Tons of people, like, I've watched a ton of reviews. It's very highly regarded. I don't even know. I'm assuming it's discontinued, but you can still get it on the gray market sites. I'm super curious about it. It's supposed to be a more vanillic version of La Nuit Trésor. So I'm not sure, because vanilla, sometimes I get weirded out by vanilla, but for whatever reason, it's one that I'm very, very curious about. So we'll see. If I can get it on a good deal, it's coming home. The next designer fragrance that I absolutely love is FLOWERBOMB Nectar. So first of all, I love the bottle that it comes in somehow, and I love the fact that there's gunpowder in it. Like, if any fragrance could be a femme fatale fragrance, it would be FLOWERBOMB Nectar that actually has gunpowder in it. But anyway, I've smelt it, I've worn it, and I love it. Now, if I had to choose between Nectar and Midnight, I would choose Midnight just because I love that fragrance, but I really, really love the Nectar as well. I'm not a fan of FLOWERBOMB. I'm not a fan of the Dew, FLOWERBOMB Dew or whatever it's called. But Midnight and Nectar are amazing, and I would love to have Nectar. Nectar to me feels a little bit more syrupy. I find it sweeter, less fresh. Not that Midnight is fresh, but to me, Midnight feels like a really happy, kind of juicy, sweet fragrance that is good for the daytime. Like, not that you couldn't wear it at night, but it's not like super sensual and seductive. Whereas Nectar to me is more of your date night type fragrance, like more of an evening style fragrance. So yeah, I just really want it. I love the color. I love the bottle. I love the smell. And I love that there's gunpowder in it. Next designer fragrance that I want is L'Interdit Intense. So I talk a lot about the Rouge. Lately, I've got the L'Interdit Eau de Parfum, which I really enjoy as well. But the Intense I want because I really enjoy that sesame note. It's kind of warmer. I wouldn't say it's as like deep, dark, mysterious, sensual, sexy as Rouge, but it still is very beautiful. It's opulent. It's different because of that sesame seed in it. I think there's black pepper in it too. So it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more of a spicy quality in that one as well. But it's just a very warm, slightly almost nutty feel, like just ever so slightly. I just think it's gorgeous. I think once I have the Intense, I don't think I'd need to add the Eau de Toilette, although I really enjoy the Eau de Toilette too. Honestly, the whole entire L'Interdit line to me is really beautiful. So anyway, I think I got to add that Intense. Next designer on my wish list is Chante d'Extase by Nina Ricci. This has the raspberry and the rose of the L'Extase. Chante d'Extase, it's got a little bit more freshness. I think there's some bergamot in there. There's a watery note. I think it's perfect for summer. There's something kind of aquatic about it, but you still in the dry down have this kind of caramel-esque jamminess that occurs. So I just think it's a really neat fragrance, and I love the color of the bottle, like the kind of that aqua-y, turquoisey color bottle. Just is so pretty. So love L'Extase, and Chante d'Extase is the next one on my list for sure from that line. The next designer fragrance that I really, really want. Now this one, I was tempted not to mention it because it's a little bit on the high end. I've got a few that are a little bit more on the high end, kind of the private collection ones, but I wanted to mention them because they're seriously on my wish list. The first is Rouge Malachite from the Armani Privé line. That one is just beautiful. Like, I think it's tuberose. Apparently it's kind of alien-esque. I don't know. It's a hard to describe fragrance. It just smells luscious to me. It smells sensual. It smells relaxing, and I must have it. Next designer that I actually haven't smelled is Issey Miyake's L'Eau d'Issey Nectar Eau de Parfum. So I think there's honey in that one. It's supposed to be kind of great for summer. I've seen some reviews and people just rave about it. I haven't tried it, but out of all the Issey Miyake ones, I've got the rose. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's the rose one. And it's actually really nice. I like the original Issey Miyake. I think it's a beautiful kind of watery, kind of musky fragrance. In any case, the pure nectar one, it's supposed to be like kind of aquatic, like all of them, but there's honey in it. It just sounds interesting to me, so it's definitely on my list. I just imagine it to be kind of sweet, delicious, and perfect for summer, so gotta try that one. Speaking of summer, another one that is absolutely on my list is Burberry Her EDT. Now this to me is an extreme departure from the original one, and it's just a kind of fresh, bright pear fragrance, and I think it's perfect. I love the color of the juice, like the greenness of the juice is beautiful. It's just kind of a very fresh pear to me. It felt kind of watery. It's not long lasting, but I just thought it was really beautiful. So definitely on my radar, and I didn't find that the dry down went weird. So Burberry Her and every version of it with the Intense, the Elixir, when it dries down, it goes kind of chemically on me. As I recall when I tested EDT, It didn't go weird on me, and I just thought it was a very invigorating, fresh, simple pear fragrance that would be great for spring and especially summer, honestly. Another one, not very long lasting, but perfect for summer, that's on my radar is Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria Mandarin Basilic. So that one, it's just kind of a green orange fragrance, very fresh, very invigorating, very uplifting and energizing. So again, they don't last long, but just as far as having kind of a fresh, slightly green type fragrance, it's absolutely perfect. Very, very refreshing, light and delicious. And pairing it with something like the Orange Ginger Aromatherapy Bath and Body Works lotion, like I imagine that would go really well with it. Something of that nature. So yeah, it's definitely, every once in a while, like depending on your climate, depending on how hot, you just want something fresh, energizing, uplifting, nothing cloying. Ones like from the Aqua Allegoria line are perfect for that. Next designer, now this one again is a little more expensive. I've talked about it before. I've got a decant, but I just want Tobacco Vanille by Tom Ford. Like, I love the smell so much. It makes me feel like I'm walking the moors of Scotland, walking through Ireland, spending time in pubs, smoking a pipe, wearing a cape, drinking some sort of dark beer. I don't know, like there's something about it. It's boozy, there's dried fruits in it. The vanilla is just luscious and amazing. It's my favorite vanillic fragrance, I think, because it's got the tobacco and the dried fruits, and I just love it. And I want more than the travel size. I want the whole freaking bottle, even though it's expensive. So at some point, that one's coming home with me. Another designer fragrance, I think this one is discontinued as well, but it's one that I have to add to my collection. I love it so much, and it's La Vie Belle en Rose. In fact, I wished I would have gotten En Rose instead of L'Eclat. So L'Eclat is beautiful, but it's just basically orange blossom. So you're getting this sweet, delicious orange blossom. It's a beautiful fragrance, but the En Rose, the raspberry at rose combination is perfect. So it has raspberry, but it's not too potent. I find La Vie Belle Intensement to be too raspberry heavy, like it's potent, almost like Angel Nova. But the La Vie Belle en Rose, oh my goodness, it is such a gorgeous raspberry in there. So the raspberry rose paired with, I imagine there's bergamot in there. So a slight tartness, but it's just perfectly balanced. It's so gorgeous. And it's definitely on my wish list. Again, perfect for spring and summer. The next one, I haven't smelt it, but I am so curious about it, and it is Olympia Blossom. What makes this one kind of interesting to me is that it's got sorbet in it, it's got black currant, there's pear, there's rose, there still is the salt, but it sounds like a sweet kind of more desserty style Olympia, and I'm just really curious. I really enjoy Olympia. I've got Olympia Aqua Légère, love that fragrance. I've got Olympia Intense, just love it. So this is one that I want to give a try. I'm trying to decide between Blossom and Legend. Legend, I think, has fig in it, but I think I want to try Blossom. It's kind of the newer one, so I'm really curious. Maybe I can smell it in store. I'm going to check it out, see if I can smell it in store. That would be great. And the last one on my radar for sure is Azzaro's Girl Wanted by Night. Now, I've worn this fragrance a couple times. I was really seriously considering getting it. It's just kind of a fun fragrance, but it's really different. So it's the by night version, but I actually consider it less night worthy than the original Azzaro Girl Wanted. And it's completely different. So this one is a lot more candy-esque, and honestly, it smells like some sort of grape candy. I've got kind of a grapey smelling soap in my bathroom, and as a result, I can't stop thinking about Azzaro Girl Wanted by Night. So I don't think it has grape listed in the notes. There's some sort of fruit there. But there's like rum, there's whipped cream. It's kind of grape to begin with, and then it starts to kind of morph and get a little bit more creamy, a little bit more boozy. It's pretty linear. It's kind of juvenile, but it's just somehow really happy and fun, and I just really like it. Have you smelt it? Like, I don't know of many people that have talked about it even, probably because it is a little bit more juvenile, but I just think it's a fun fragrance. And if you like grape smelling things and wish you could have a grape smelling fragrance, Azzaro Girl Wanted by Night is definitely one to check out, and the color of the juice is just amazing. That is 20 fragrances that are on my radar / wish list from the designer realm. What about you? What are your top 5 that you're kind of jonesing for? You want to get them? Leave them in the comments. And other than that, have an amazing week, and we'll talk to you soon.